Good evening everyone. It's finished. West Ham United 0, Bayer Leverkusen 2, or is it Bayer Leverkusen 2, West Ham United 0. Very, very disappointing. Very, very angry. Very, very fucking pissed off. You look back on that game, what the fuck were the tactics? I know you got to defend in the away leg, whatever. This was fucking bullshit. Absolute bullshit, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to blame the players in this. Fuck off, David Moyes. Go and fuck off, and when you go, take all your tactics, your fucking dinosaur mental state in your mind with you, mate. This all goes back to the transfer window. No fucking subs when you bring them on. There's fucking 10 defenders in there. It's a fucking joke. When you look back on this game, they were nothing, Bayer Leverkusen. Wishy-washy, lovely to watch, but no end product. If only we had. Don't blame Bowen, mate. Don't blame Paqueta's yellow card. This manager has fucking abused all the players, put them into the ground. They're fucking tired. Yeah? We could have rested one or two of these players earlier in the season, but the biggest mistake for David Moyes is no one signed in January. 2-3 people, even a couple of people on loan, not talking about Calvin Phillips. This is the business end, and everyone, I'm not blowing my fit today. I've told you this was going to happen. The business end of the season, the big games, the big players, the squad. This is when you need a squad. Don't blame the 11 out there now. Right? Disgraceful tactics. Good tactics, but you cannot do that for 90 minutes. You cannot do that for 90 minutes. I'm sorry. And I don't care what planet you're on. Antonio, he shouldn't be first choice in 90 minutes. He done the best he could, but he was never going to score. He's not agile enough. That Czech striker, the other one, we were after him a couple of years ago. Things didn't happen, but this is fucking bollocks. You've lost 2-0 knowing that they were easily beatable if the fucking manager set up in the fucking right way, had a Bowen replacement, had an Antonio replacement, couple of more athletic, forward-looking, creative players to help Paqueta and Kudos. We would have finished these lot off today. That is what's most frustrating. This is what's most frustrating, that all this big fucking thing about Leverkusen this, Leverkusen that, mate. Listen, fucking hell, I don't care. There weren't all that, mate. If we only fucking had a manager with a big balls, fucking conviction to play football in the right way, have a little bit of fucking something about. We should be the dons in Europe. The British team last 3 years who've won the most games, lost the less. They should be scared of us. We should have fucking been out there. Okay, if somehow by hook or crook we got 0-0 at half time, we should have had the ammunition to bring on people at heart. And this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. You brought Agard on. He's fucking shit. You keep defensive. Listen, this is bollocks. This is fucking bollocks. Looking back, we've lost 2-0. We're probably out the fucking tie. Bowen ain't probably going to play in the second leg. Paqueta ain't going to play in the second leg, right? I'm going to go there. I don't know fucking to watch what. Football's about trying to score. You can, defend, put 5 behind the ball. Fucking hell, mate. You've just given it away. Alonso had a field day. He's loving it. The referee's a prick anyway. He could wait to book us, right? He's a dickhead anyway, you know. I felt sorry a little bit for some of the yellow cards out there. But the most frustrating thing to take away from today is you can't play 95 minutes in a quarterfinal like that. You can do a little bit of it. Of course, keep it tight, but you've got to have something up front in the squad. Someone to come on off the bench and give you a little bit of something. You just can't put that many people behind the ball. It's just not happening, mate. It's not happening, and you've got what you wanted. You fucking 2-0 down. You've really, fuck's sake, mate. Seriously, I can't wait for this guy to go. Fuck the fucking trophy last year and keeping us up 2-3 years and bollocks like that. That's bollocks, mate. It's bollocks. Seriously, you're absolutely right, mate. I'm not going to blame the players. I applaud the players. They were fantastic. The players were fantastic. They were brave. They were just carrying out fucking tactics from Julius fucking Caesar or Genghis Khan. I'm fucking going to call him Genghis Khan, the cunt. Genghis Khan killed so many people in the world, they reckon the climate thing fucking dropped. Genghis Khan Moyes. Fucking hell, mate. Seriously. This is not football. Fucking hell, mate. What was Moyes thinking? I'd love to fucking meet him one day, crack open that head and talk inside it and say, what were you thinking, mate? You know, you're one trick pony. It works sometimes. But it ain't always gonna work. It ain't always gonna work. Right? And a couple of honest truths. We won that trophy last year. But you all know, in that final, we were the second best team. But I don't want to go down there. That's me being a cunt. I don't want to go there. Beautiful win. But you can't keep doing this. You can't. This is outrageous. You got what you fucking deserve, mate. Just fucking risking it, hanging on there, chucking in fucking 15 defenders. It all goes back to your stubbornness not to buy any striker or anyone else attacking like that, who could have held onto the ball. The people in the back defending didn't get a break fucking all game. And sooner or later, cross after cross, corner after corner, shot after shot. I mean, Fabianski was kind of man of the match or whatever, but I kind of felt he could have done a bit more for the first goal, got down a bit lower. It went through fucking 99 players, didn't it? Well, that's why. Do you remember my comments from last year that we got so many people in the box? We get lazy picking anyone up because you're always thinking, I've got 4 guys next to me, they're going to pick them up. So that's a typical example of the ball went through fucking 100 people down the M4 and went in. It's fucking what it is, isn't it? And Liverpool fucking got spanked. Every fucking tournament we go out of, you look at the draw and there's no one left. So if we'd done something in this game, and listen, in summary, I'm saying Leverkusen were gettable. They were doable. They were doable, mate. After all the headlines, all the media pundits scaring the shit out of every West Ham fan. If only David Moyes had got brave enough to fucking sign a couple of strikers in the fucking window, put them there. You know, even Skamaka, bloody hell, I was going to say rest in peace. I don't mean that. Skamaka scored, I mean, seriously. Oh, mate. Fucking hell, mate. Seriously. I don't know what's up in that guy's head, mate. Snazzy seen a lot of things in football and definitely seen a lot of weird things under David Moyes. It's too much of a big ask, my man, because I think Bowen is more or less out. Paquet's definitely out. What the fuck are we going to do? We're going to play 7 centre-backs at the back. It is fucking embarrassing, mate. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's fucking joking, mate. Definitely, mate. I'm not blaming the players, mate. They kind of... Definitely, John. It's quarterfinals. It's fucking business time, mate. It's like the men from the boys get separated. But you had that January window. We were 6th in the league. Great. One of the best top 4 players up front. Paqueta, Bowen, Kudus in the fucking world. All they need is a bit of help. You don't have to fucking tick all 10 boxes buying a striker. Just get someone with 2 legs, someone big like Antonio can hold it up. That's all you need. That's all you need, a physical presence. Danny Ings can't do it. Mubama can't do it, right? But there's surely fucking someone out there, right? Fucking hell, that's all we needed. A couple of people on loan here and there. You've had 4 months to the scouting team, Tim Stein, to get someone in. Fuck me, mate. Jesus Christ, mate. Seriously, mate. This was a tournament that we could fucking win again. But we fucked up again. Mate. Oh, mate. Seriously. I'm going to get someone on the channel. Just seeing if you can kind of get on there now. He'll get on there soon, Peter, I think. It's absolutely joke, mate. When that window ended, mate... Calvin Phillips is injured, by the way. And my son said, well, we're doing what? Calvin Phillips is injured. So in the window, we didn't buy anyone. We didn't buy fucking anyone. How can you do that? We are playing with a squad of 13 and the 12 and 13 are defenders. I've never seen anything like it in the whole world. This is fucking fucked. It's so stupid. It's incredible. Fuck you, we ain't got no one, mate. We got no one. Yeah, that sub that came on. My kids are saying he's got 20 goals, Dad. He's on the bench. Who we got on the bench? A fucking carpenter and the plumber. Fucking hell. You can do it a little bit. You can do it 55%. I'll give him that. Do it for 60%. I'll give him that. Fucking not. We were doing it for about 80, 90%. You can't do that. Because it's going to go in. The ball's going to go in. It's statistics, isn't it? It's going to go in. You cannot keep that fucking tactics up. It's crazy. It's fucking mad, mate. And when you look back on it, if only we'd given it another 15% throttle, we would have got a draw out of it easy. We would have got a draw out of it. And what I'm telling you guys is, Peter's going to come in a minute, but Peter, you can hear it. I'm fucking well pissed off with this. This is like, that team was boosted by the media for no reason, and if only the manager was brave enough to buy more attacking players in the window, swapped it around, have something on the bench, we could have easily come away with a draw. It's just so frustrating, Peter. And this guy, this manager, I can't wait to see the back of him. I'm sick of it, mate. And you've come from the John Lyle time. It must be worse for you, mate. It must be terrible for you, mate.
Well, I come from the time of John Lyle. I'm talking about the early 80s, watching West Ham, watching what they call the West Ham way, and the way West Ham used to play football. And I'm sorry, but look, there's a lot of new generations of football supporters since me and since you, Jazz, and they're not going to necessarily understand it because they never experienced it. So I think tonight what you just said about the lack of investment in a January transfer window for forward players, you needed to sign a striker for 3 years. Look, the Haller, the Scamacca. Look at what Scamacca's done at Liverpool tonight, yeah? He's running a new one, you know what I mean? And, come on. And you see, the problem, Jazz, I've got with the striker situation is that you buy Scamacca and you are aware that he's not used to playing up front on his own, but you still buy him and play him there, okay? The same with Haller. You did the same thing. Now, what I will say about tonight is it was a great defensive performance until the end, all right? The last 7-8 minutes, etc. It was a great defensive performance, but going forward, there was nothing there. For me, the greatest chance was obviously the Kudus chance in early in the first half.
Early. Yeah.
But I say that, but I was really disappointed in Kudus there because great players pick their corners, place them, and score in that situation, and Kudus didn't, and I was surprised at that because I rate Kudus so highly. That was a great opportunity to go 1-0 in front, and
there was a chance. There was a chance, Peter, with Antonio with a bit more confidence, he could have taken it all the way himself. There was a little bit of a chance. Yeah.
He could have. Antonio did a couple of great runs tonight. It was the first one for the Kudos chance, and the second one where he just ripped through their defence with hopping the ball over him, etc. And he done brilliant. But I think overall tonight, you've got to look at it and say, look, we defended absolutely brilliantly, but if the club was run properly and if we had good players on the bench to come on and make a difference tonight and make a little bit of an impact, then it could have been different, Like I said, the lack of transfer activity with the strikers in the last 3 years has been astonishing. And what I will say, Jazz, is that, right, if you've got David Moyes in charge and you want him in charge, okay, no problem whatsoever. But you have to buy strikers that are going to be able to play in the David Moyes system. You cannot keep buying strikers that are going to come in and they cannot play as a lone front striker. And that's the main problem for me, the main problem.
I think the other problem is that there is no heart or willingness on David Moyes' side to accept any names given to him by Tim Stein and Sullivan. So even in that interview in December, Sky told David Moyes, the window's about to open, you need a striker, how do you feel? And he gave such a negative answer saying, yeah, everyone's after a number 9. We'll have a look. We don't know if someone's in there. It's very hard to do business. It's always... So in January, it's always hard for David. In the summer, same response again. And what that means, Peter, as you know, is when you do nothing in January, you're going to end up with, once again, for the 3rd year running, 7 players out of contract, the squad that is second oldest in the league, and it's only himself to blame. And he just, no. And what I'm saying to everyone is, Okay, if you're so fussy, Duddy, you haven't got that striker where 10 boxes are ticked. All we needed was a physical someone up front just to hold it up, technically, a bit more mobile than Antonio, and then maybe another winger to take some of these players off after 70 minutes. There, Spurs, Paquette was only come back. Don't forget, Paquette and Bowen have come back from injuries in recently, less than a month's time, and this manager is grinding them into the ground. And I know from mine and Peter's time that Devonshire used to say that we were only 80% fit anyway, quarters and we get that, but that was that time. But we'll go into that in future shows. But what's really frustrating is when you've won a tournament, you're no danger of going down. You're top 10, and by hook or crook, by luck, you're sixth. January the 1st, you're sixth in the league. You're 6 points ahead of the team seventh, which is Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea. And you fucking don't buy anyone. And when you do buy someone, it's another CDM. Because you love buying CDMs, doesn't he? Moyes loves buying CDMs. There's another one, mate. Couldn't wait. And then you might have noticed, Peter, is when there's a skillful attacking player like Ben Rama. I know Ben Rama had a lot of issues and I had a lot of goes at him. But if you remember Ben Rama, when he first came, he came with a lot of skill. He liked to dribble, take people on. He lost the ball a couple of times. And after that, David Moyes gave him one of those stares saying, you're not going to dribble again, son. Not going to get... And he broke. The confidence was gone. Whether he was good enough or not, we'll go into that another show. But the point is, Moisey, with attacking players, he doesn't give them the license to thrill, which is all about West Ham, mate. And today, in summary, what I'm saying today, Peter, is after watching Leverkusen, we could have easily got a draw today if we half put the right application, isn't it, in terms of attacking ourselves. We could have easily got a draw against them, mate.
Of course we could have. Of course we could have. And also going back to, I know we're going back to old stories here, but Ben Rama... and also, let's not forget Pablo Fornals. I remember when we signed both players, and I knew both players pretty well. And I was absolutely so excited because they were magnificent players. They really were. I know anyone can do a best bits of YouTube and make you look really great, but they were very, very talented and highly skilled players. I come from an era where I want to watch highly skilled and highly talented players, i.e. Alan Devonshire, Trevor Brooking. And
you're so lucky. You're so lucky, like my dad. You're so lucky, mate. I never saw.
Yeah, I mean, look, I used to watch Alan Devonshire and Trevor Brooking every week, and it's never, it will never leave your head when you.
Peter showing off now. Peter showing off.
No, I'm not. I mean, look, at the end of the day,
I'm joking.
They were just great players to watch, and Pablo Fornals and Ben Rama, they were quality players. But I think the saying that they've put on social media now is that they were moised, and they were moised. But then going back to the conversation I had earlier about the strikers, is that if you're David Moyes and you're West Ham United, you've got to be a properly run club and turn around and say, look, hold on a minute, we are looking for a striker in Europe or worldwide that is very, very good at playing up front on their own, okay, can hold the ball up, can support the ball, can play it off to different players, and does not mind playing up front on their own. They're a specialist at it. And if you go and buy a striker like that, fair enough, okay? But don't go and buy someone like Haller, who's used to playing with two up front, and Skamaka, who's used to be, playing with a partner up front, and then coming to West Ham, and as Mikel Antonio said, you're playing on scraps. This is the problem. This is the problem. I will reiterate, tonight was a great defensive performance, and I applaud the team for that. But the only problem was it was going forward, where you could maybe nick a goal and make it look a bit interesting. But for me personally, look, I've been involved with West Ham for a long, long time, and, is the tie dead? Is it 2-0 by Leverkusen? I think it might be. I really do. I don't know. I mean, look, it's West Ham. I mean, you don't know what's going to turn up with West Ham.
The thing, Peter, is secondly, there's no Paquette, no Bowen. That's a big thing, mate.
No Paquette and no Bowen. Personally, tonight for me, right, I was looking at that match and I was annoyed with Paquette. I have to say I was very annoyed with him because I thought personally he was irresponsible with that booking. I really genuinely think that. Because that follow through with the left leg, I just think it's irresponsible. He knows he's sort of like a booking away from missing the next match. if you've got Bowen out and Paqueta out next week, we got to pull something serious out the hat. We really have. We really have got to pull
We can't pull.
serious out
We can't pull nothing from the bench. That's for sure. There's nothing on the
Well,
bench.
I'll tell you something, Jazz. I'll tell you something. I have to say, right? If this is the thing that annoys me, right? He's turned around and spent 400 million, or is it 400 million, or is it over 400 million? I don't know, but it's around that figure, David Moyes. Okay, and if you're going to spend that much money in 4 years, which
and nothing on the bench, yeah.
There's nothing on the bench, mate. On the bench was youth team players.
But don't
forget, could you bring on that would make a difference?
No, but you're right. Agard is 33, 35 million. Cornet is 20 million. He don't use any of them, mate. You know, Kera's a 15 million out on loan, mate. And with the other, who's the other one on loan we got rid of? Kera, and there's another one on loan, isn't there, somewhere? Oh, Downs is only 10, 11. I'm not blaming him. He just came in to see how he was. There's a lot of money that's... Yeah, Vlasic, 22 million. Skamaka, 35 million. Anderson was the one, mate, where they apparently sold him for like £5, mate. They bought him for like 30 million under Pellegrini. A lot of money's been wasted, and
I have to say, if you spent that much money, Jazz, and you look at that bench tonight, I would suggest there is a problem with West Ham with recruitment and selling and buying. I really genuinely would, because that bench tonight shocked me. It really shocked me.
I think what it is from my end, Peter, is you remember the Arsenal Wenger David Dean relationship. John Lyland, the board, obviously got a little bit funny at the end, but when you're running a successful business, you got all the people got to run on the same road, same length. What's happening at West Ham, I think, is Sullivan can't help himself dabbling in with his agent mates and lovingly buying a striker. Moyes doesn't want to buy anyone, and now you got Tim Starton in who's the future. It, like you said, apparently, I don't know if Sullivan went on TalkSport or not, but there was news coming out of the window shut where Sullivan was complaining that these two blaming Tim Starton and Moyes in not getting on and blaming them for not bringing anyone over the line. Because you remember we went and saw that Sevilla striker, the Moroccan guy who can hold it up. Their helicopters went into that lovely little bay, probably not far from where you are, and nothing. We've been chasing him for 4 windows. Nothing happened there.
Yeah.
So there is something not quite right. I mean, obviously, we should have 20, 30 million left after all the Rice money and what we earn from Sky and things like that. But, I mean, I know Broja's got issues. He's gone to Fulham. I was pissed off about that, but he hasn't featured, so maybe there is an issue there. They're trying to get rid of a lot of players. But, mate, when you're full-time... If I told you, Peter, you are the scout at West Ham... You only really, I mean, you've got 4 months to go and look for. You're gonna find someone. You're gonna find someone, right?
If you're doing your job properly, Jazz. If you're doing your job properly, you go and find someone. It's as simple as that. And look, the bottom line is you have not got to be Einstein to work out that the club is not being run properly. Okay, because like I go back to my previous point, if you have David Moyes in charge and you want to keep David Moyes in charge, which you would have seen the board do. If you want to buy a striker, you need to buy a striker who is used to playing up front on his own. You don't get a butcher to do a baker's job, all right?
Another thing, Peter, I think you're like me, traditional. I love tradition. If 4-4-2 was good enough for Alex Ferguson, it's fucking good enough for me in this day and age. I don't understand. In football, mate, again, I'm going to generalise. One player's got tattoo, they all got tattoos. One guy's got Land Rover, they all got Land Rover. One manager, Glenn Holder, done a sweeper system. Let's all fucking play sweeper system. One guy won it. What the fuck is this? 3 wingers, 4 wingers up front. I don't understand it.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something, Jez.
It's not football, mate. It's fucking passion following.
It's not football. I mean, I come from sort of like the early 80s. And I mean, there's going to probably be a lot of your viewers that don't come from that time and they're a lot younger than me. But I'll tell you something. One thing for me that, you know, that is the most important is you have to play 2 strikers up front. It's absolutely clinical. You have to play 2
little man, big man, tricky wingers.
Machiavelli, Cotti, all that type of thing. And you could go on throughout different teams in the 80s. But people will turn around and say, oh, but the game's moved on and it's more technical now. In blatant English, I turn around and say to that bullshit, okay? Because if you can play 2 strikers up front and you've got 2 decent wingers, like once, look, I know I'm going to revert back to old times.
No, you have to because it worked. It worked.
It could also revert to new times, okay? You got Mark Ward on the right crossing. You got Alan Devonshire on the left crossing. You got McAvenny and Cotty in the middle. Now they're gone. They're finished, all right? They're retired. They're happy people. They're living their own lives. But what I'm saying is there could be a new McAvenny and Cotty, Alan Devonshire and Mark Ward, okay? Because you need the length of the pitch, the width of the pitch. Crossing in, you got two strikers up front. Look, till I die, right, I will never, in my personal life, understand not playing two up front. And the reason why I will not understand playing two up front is because I was ingrained in the John Lyall era, okay? I was brought up in the John Lyall era, where it was attacking football, it was flowing football, it was beautiful football. And yeah, I'll tell you what, we used to walk out of Upton Park in the early 80s and we used to lose. But I'll tell you something, we saw a bloody brilliant match. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's about, Jez. People forget, right? I don't know. I mean, look, I used to pay £1 to get into the North Bank when I was a kid and the South Bank in Upton Park. But people forget, right? You got to remember, what do you go to football for? You work all week. You got your stresses of earning your money and paying your bills. You go to football to be entertained. All right. You don't go to football to see a game of chess. You want to be entertained. You want to see flowing football. And
that's how football came about.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And that's what kills me about football today. You know, even when I look at us playing against Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, the top teams, they still play it sideways and backwards. You know what I mean? It's like there's, like, I must admit, tonight for the first time, Bayer Leverkusen in the first 20 minutes, they were immense. The way they kept powerfully playing the ball forward, every single ball was forward. And then they seemed to back off a bit after 20 minutes because our defence was so good. But that's the way I want football to be played, you know?
But Peter, when you look in history, football is simple. It was an entertainment. It was like our history, Thames Line works. The guy goes, you guys work in the factory. There's a leisure thing I'm opening up for you. Get fit, entertain. Like John, you know better than me. John Lyon's interview, he didn't give a lot of interviews. Very quiet man. The club back in the days used to keep everything in-house. And you remember the days when you used to buy a player, you opened the Sun next day. That's when you knew you bought a player. Everyone's like, what the hell, John? We didn't even know that you... And then the player didn't know that John and his little thing on the guy on the side, that they've been looking at him all year. They were watching Mark Ward all season. Nobody even knew, right? And he knew everyone.
Mark Ward from Oldham Athletic, the ex-Baker, I remember. And I remember ringing up Club Call. And my mum used to have a right go at me because she used to see the phone bills, which was like,
I did that. I got told off.
Yeah, I did, Jazz. I got in a lot of trouble. But back in the day, you used to ring Club Call. And I remember, you know, you're absolutely right. You never used to hear about it until it happened, and no one heard of McAvenny, no one heard of Mark Ward.
Couple of comments in terms of today's game. Yeah. I think we've forgotten that Emerson is out the next leg as well. Emerson is out, mate. He got booked. He's out. Paqueta's out. Bowen, I know Bowen's out after the comments from Bowen. From David Moyes has drilled these players, killed them all off, and I think it looks like, especially Billy. But I want to remind everyone, there's 100 people in the chat at the moment live, that please look at the ticker at the bottom. Peter is representing a really good cause. Animal Rescue's there. We're going to do a live auction of Peter's West Ham memorabilia on Monday, 8 p.m, everyone. And Peter is closely worked with the club. Back in the day, he had access to a lot of the players. He's a professional photographer. So on Monday, 8 p.m, on this channel live, there's going to be an auction of really special West Ham memorabilia. We've done a show already. Just watch it. So just want to mention, Peter's like a new guy to the channel, and we're very happy to...
Much appreciated.
Yeah. It's going to go good, mate. But what the chat is saying, mate, is everyone... They're not blaming the players. I'm not blaming the players. They always give 100%. I know sometimes you can't blame any of them, but it's just about people have had enough. Moyes out. I mean, I can't even keep up with the comments, but yeah, it's just.
I feel sorry for the players. I feel sorry for the players at the end of the day, because I know we've got a lot of flair players, and I know we've got a lot of creative players and talented players. And if you look at them, right, look at tonight. Okay, just look at tonight. Put it in two boxes, okay? You've got our players and we've got a hell of a lot of talented and creative players. Put them in a box and close it, and put Moyes on top. Put Leverkusen players in the box, close it, and put Alonso on top. All right.
Yeah, but
the way Alonso plays football and coaches his players is so much more efficient, and the word is efficient, okay, than Moyes would. All right. So it's like, look, I'm really sorry to the younger viewers, but I'm going to keep harping back because it's where I come from. Okay. If you looked at the older West Ham, all right, and Trevor Brooking and the like, we always played through the gaps. We were always looking at the gaps. Where's the gap? There was a famous game against QPR. I think it was 1983 at Upton Park, and Tony Cotty scored 2 goals and Trevor Brooking setting up for the both goals. And Trevor Brooking just played it through the gap. And where are the players doing that today? The players are there to do it. The players are there to do that creative pass. But in my opinion, it's being blocked by Moyes. It really is. Because I want to see the ball played through gaps. I want to see the ball played forward. I don't want to see the ball played sideways and backwards when there is a forward option. Why would you do that? It's pointless. Do you see what I mean?
I think what we've seen, Peter, in summary, since David Moyes has come in, if I go right to the beginning, I was the only one with the channel who wanted him in when we were after Pellegrini, because Pellegrini, I loved him. I even said live on the fan cams is that we beat Man United last style when Anderson did that back, and they go, oh, Jazz, wow, no one's even mentioned that name in years. Loved it. But he just took the piss and the back door was open, scores. So that was stupid. But with David Moyes, he was the right man to come in when he did. He saved us. He kind of made us solid. The foundation was there. We were hard to beat. We got more fit. But the guy's just taking the piss because I blame the board as well. That when because we laugh at Daniel Levy sometimes across the road, but what you got to give Daniel Levy is there's a stadium there, infrastructure there, and he's got the balls. He went after the 2 most expensive managers in the world, Mourinho and Conte, but then him sacking the kind of the Wolves manager after 9 games, that was brave because you got to pay up for the 3 years. And so they're proactive, Peter. We're reactive. We react. We don't figure out. So when he goes, whichever manager goes, these owners have never installed a manager who's been out of a job where you have to pay for them. All the managers we've had have been unemployed, sacked easily. All of them, I think. Kirbishley, Allardyce, Avram Grant. So this is the kind of lazy board there is, and even Sullivan once said, I don't believe in an investment in youth because one in a million years someone comes along the rise.
That's rubbish. That's rubbish. That's
rubbish. That was his comment.
The thing with youth, right, is that it so annoyed me tonight because I looked at the substitutes bench, right, and I thought to myself, right, he ain't getting on, he ain't getting on, he ain't getting on, he ain't getting on. All of them ain't getting on. They know they can just sit there and put their feet up. There's no chance they're getting on. They're youth team players. They're there to make the numbers up, and they ain't getting on. Do you know what I mean? And that drives me insane. Whereas, once again, the era I come from, youth team players used to get into the first team, make a difference, and they used to make a name for themselves. And they used to be, West Ham stars, etc. Looking back at Tottenham Hotspur, as much as we don't like Tottenham and they don't like us, I'm sorry, but for me, I'm a West Ham fan and I've got to look at it and go, look, their stadium is probably the best in the Premier League. Well, look, come on, it is. Their training ground is. They've got a manager that's sort of like, attacking minded, and they're loving life at the minute. They're loving life.
They were playing with 9 men against Chelsea and they nearly won the game. And they got applauded off the pitch. Like he said, win, lose or draw in West Ham's history, okay, it doesn't matter. But what matters most, as you know, is chicken run. The first tackle, Billy Bonds, 100%. Leave it on the pitch, try to score a goal. But this was like, you're waiting to be... There's 10 men against the wall. How many bullets are you going to dodge? Again, someone in the chat said you can't always play... I know that, mate. I know that. But what it is, at least you've got the option on the bench. So you've defended after 60 minutes and you've kind of got away with it. Now's the time to kind of bring people on, freshen it up, go up the wing with pacey wingers. Let's see what we can grab. You just sat there with the same tactics, no subs. You got what you got, and a couple of
Yeah.
people are saying, mate, we could have lost fifth, sixth. And the other thing, Tommy, that's a really good point, is that in the 4-4-2 that me
Yeah,
and
let me
Peter
just sort the
talked.
dogs out. I can just hear the dogs for a minute.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah,
2
yeah, yeah,
seconds.
yeah, yeah. No problem.
All right, mate.
Bring them on, mate. It's fine. But Tommy, you're absolutely right, because back in the day, you didn't mean that the two CDMs were CDMs. It always meant that perhaps one was a CDM, but at West Ham, we could do both things, a bit like Modric. So Bishop could do both, put his leg in, could pass the ball left or right, long, short, everything. Monco was the same. So there are players out there that can physically, as a CDM, they can do both. I mean, Paqueta is another one, isn't it? He can put his foot in, he's strong, and he can spray the ball left or right. There's players out there, you just have to find out who they are. You don't have to put Calvin Phillips next to Alvarez, because Alvarez, to be fair, he's limited in a little bit, but God, the boy's got an engine, the boy's got a heart, he can win the ball, box to box. David Moyes should know more than anyone, the most experienced manager after Hodgson has gone, that in the business end of the season, you're going to know that you're going to come unstuck in February, March, April. Peter knows better than me. Why do the same teams win the trophies? Because they've got a squad of 22 who sit scratching their backsides up till January, February. But, I mean, Peter remember the name Adrian Heath, Everton. He'll remember that name, who used to do nothing all year.
Striker.
But from February, he's there. He comes on, does few things, and that's it. It's about a squad that is all year round. And yeah, we don't have that problem where pitches used to be heavy in December, ice, everywhere. But now the pitches are like carpet, but you need a squad of 22. You need a squad of 20, especially with Antonio. Antonio's been missing for ages. Bowen, we got lucky in 3 years. He's a bullet guy, but he's just, the knee's got. I think the worry with Bowen, mate, why he's probably gonna miss the game. It's the knee's gone, not the actual where he's got hit on the back of his on the side of his stomach or something like that. I think the knee's gone as well. Paqueta, he's only recently come back from injury, and he's got that side to him. It is what it is. Alvarez, it is what it is. Yellow card after yellow card. But there's a few players out there, Peter. Even talk. I don't like Souček anyway. No, squad player definitely, lovely human being. But I'll watch him live, Peter. And as a CDM, you never see Souček intercept, attack. You never see him tackle anyone. You won't see any. What you will see from him is just running and get the goal at the end from the corner somehow. Just launch himself. That's all you get from him. Rice,
what amazes me about Souček, and if you watch Thomas Souček, I mean, look, I know he does some good things for us, and he comes up to goals, etc. And he's just a little antidote. He just makes me laugh, but he's got a habit. If you watch Thomas Souček in a match, watch him for 90 minutes, right? And he will get the ball in the middle of the park. And he's got an amazing habit of playing it sideways or playing it backwards. And when he makes the pass to play it sideways or backwards, he tells the player he's passing to play it forward. But he never does, It's like, it annoys me so much. It's like, if you're telling that player to play it forward, why don't you play it forward? Because you had an option there to play it forward, because you can blatantly see the option,
I mean, the Kenya, this comment, Declan Rice, mate. Declan Rice embarrassed. He scored, we lost 6-0. There's loads out there. There's character. He said that, I think the Kenya is saying that youth players, he's not sure that, I think he's talking about the recent young players who've left thinking, but that's a different issue, the Kenya. I mean, Rice, well, we can say we produced him. I know we nicked Defoe as well back in the day from Charlton, but we regard Rice as a kind of a youth player. I mean, 110 million, future captain of England. Even if we produce no one for 5-6 years, him on his own, that's worth investing in the academy. 110 million, 5 years, putting a couple of sandwiches out there. I said, Peter, mate, you want to join, mate? 100. I mean, listen, it's cool. It is worth it because Rice has come through. Johnson's not bad. I have a lot. The thing with Johnson is he's never been played regularly as a right back, which is his position. He's been left back, right back, little wiggly on the wing, just fucked about all over the show. So I feel a bit sorry for him. He does piss me off sometimes, but it's not entirely his fault. He's been pissed about by Moyes, but you can't know. Youth is. I know the thing is the FA or the Premier, whoever runs it, Peter, it is wrong how Chelsea, Man City are allowed. I think we lost a centre back to Liverpool. I was really angry about that. 17, 18-year-old, they can grab them off West Ham. That's outrageous. There needs to be new rules where I think players need to be reasonably restricted to their region. How Man City can go into London, I don't know. I might be outdated in my thoughts and things like that. I know Alan Shearer went from Newcastle to Southampton. That's a very, very famous case of sending a kid fucking that far. And Southampton's academy is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
In recent times, it's edged West Ham anyway, neck to neck, and loads of players from there.
I think when you look back, I mean, look, I appreciate the comment there, and it's a good comment. But I think a lot of West Ham supporters turn around and say this. They turn around and say that, what youth player has left West Ham and embarrassed us, made a success at the club they went to, and has embarrassed us. But there's not been too many. But what I will say is that it's really important to remember, right, that if you're a youth team player and you're up and coming and you're successful and you've got a chance to get into the first team, right, it's really important to give that player a run of games and have faith in that player, right? Because if you know they're good enough, and they will come good in the end, but because the Premier League has changed, and I say the Premier League, look, at the end of the day, back in my day when Tony Cottee came through and Kevin Keane and Alan Dickens and all these players came through, I remember at the end of the season at Upton Park, always in the early 80s, we always, at the end of the season, the last 3 home games of the season, we used to blood youth players, right? There was George Paris, there was all of them coming through, and we think, who's this guy? Keith McPherson, etc. And they'd all come through and they'd all get a taste of what the first team's about, But now I think it's so much tougher because there's so much pressure, there's so much spotlight that if you give a youth team player a chance, he's got to actually produce on his first appearance. And if he doesn't, he's a washout. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of... The point I'm trying to make is that can damage a player tremendously, all right? Because if you put a player in for one match and then just say, right, didn't work, take him out, and then they go to West Brom or QPR or Watford or whatever and still don't work out, their confidence has been damaged. You've got to remember, football, a large part of it is mentality. It's a large part of it is confidence, mentality. I know I'm a good player. I know I can do it. But if someone sucks that out of you, yeah, then obviously it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of these players that have... I know a lot of West Ham supporters that have come forward and gone, oh, yeah, but no players have, come back and embarrassed us. Well, maybe the reason why they haven't embarrassed us is because we drained the confidence out of them in the first place. I know it's a controversial statement.
Yeah, I think DeCanio. I think what DeCanio is saying, that when we release players that kind of not really played any games, that's a good point. But we've got loads from the academy that gone and made it. Obviously, Rio Ferdinand. So yeah, I see what you mean. But DeCanio, you can't run a club without investment in youth. It's not normal. You got to have an academy. You got to have an academy in the local
investment
area.
Investment in the youth is critical. Absolutely critical, but the way the game is going is not just the way the game is going, it's the way life is going. If you look at everything in life at the moment, take football away from it, right? Just look at life. Everybody wants instant success, instant results, instant. And it don't work like that. Do you know what I mean? Life don't work like that. So that's the problem at the minute. We live in a world where we can get anything we want, anytime we want. And
yeah,
look, at the end of the day, you've got to have trust in players, faith in players, and you've got to give them a run of games. I mean, look, for me personally, right, I've got a mate, big West Ham supporter, he goes everywhere, right? And we've got a constant battle, me and him, between Mabama, right? And I'm saying, give Mabama a chance. Just give him a chance. If we're 3-0 up or 2-0 up in the game and there's 10 minutes to go, put him on. But Moyes won't do it. Moyes won't do it. So how's the guy going to get experience, and how is he going to, accelerate in his game? He's not going to do it because he's not getting a chance. I mean, look, again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to educate the younger supporters, all right? Tony Cottee was 17. He thought he was being brought into the squad just as an experience. And
That,
all of
that,
a
that,
sudden,
that's
go
the
on,
day. That's the day I became a West Ham fan. My dad was a West
New
Ham
Year's
fan
Day.
anyway. January the 1st,
Yep,
1983, West Ham
that's the one.
3. My dad goes, you can stay up on the big
Yeah,
match. Our games on because at halftime you used to know what game's going to be. My dad said that Upton Park, when the BBC cameras were there, you knew your game was there, isn't it?
yeah,
So the
yeah. Oh
kids,
God,
so
yes,
so the
yeah.
kids. So the kids don't know that there used to be 3 games on Match of the Day on the Saturday and ITV on the Sunday, and they used to switch them. So the following year, ITV would be Saturday night, Match of the Day would be, and then obviously Brian Moore was my favourite commentator. I had a soft spot for
Oh,
West Ham,
lovely bloke,
Gillingham,
lovely bloke.
Gillingham director, and then he goes, Jazz, you can stay up, and we won 3-1. My dad's giggling, laughing all over the place, and Cotty scores on his debut. He said, I didn't know till the day before. And then the family had enough time. John used to tell the family before the player that don't tell him that he's going to play. I don't want him being nervous. You come, here's your tickets. John was like, he knew how to do everything.
It was a special club, mate. It was a special club.
And you're going to make me even more jealous because I got a feeling you were there that night. I don't know. I could be wrong. Were you there?
No, I mean, look. At the end of the day, it was a very, very special club. It was run in a very special way, and I think Eddie Gillam was the kit manager at West Ham, and I think he hit the nail on the head when he said, the
Peter, did you know the cameraman, the big guy, the camera guy, the big
Steve
guy?
Bacon? Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, don't forget, I used to be a photographer.
I can't buy his book anywhere. I need his book in the collection. I haven't bought his book.
I have to say, Jazz, if you can get Steve Bacon's book, right?
I'm special.
All I will say is this. I've read hundreds of West Ham books. In my opinion, Steve Bacon's book is the most informative book on West Ham you'll ever read.
It should be on the website. It's not even there on the club website.
Jazz, if you read this book, you will read most of it with your jaw open, mate. Yeah? Seriously, mate. He goes into everything, mate.
One thing I remember, he said after John left, a lot of the managers didn't want him on the team bus because John's like, yeah, you're part of the bus. You just kind of, and he's like, he felt left out. Then Ray Stewart's very close to him, isn't he? Ray Stewart, very close to him.
Yeah, that was the manager that didn't want him on the bus was Alan Pardew. He's the one that put a stop to it. Alan Pardew, seriously, I'm sorry, but
he's one of my favourite managers. The team we had.
Jazz, no. I'll tell you something now, Jazz. I could tell you stuff about Alan Pardew, mate, that would make you.
Oh no.
I remember one part of Steve Bacon's book, and they were in a hotel. I forget who they were playing away, but they were playing away, and Steve Bacon, the West Ham photographer, was part of the group. With the manager and the kit manager, Eddie Gillam. Steve Bacon and Eddie Gillam were very good friends, the kit manager. And anyway, they were getting their evening meal on a Friday night before the away game. And you probably know this story anyway. I think it's quite...
Oh, no, I don't. No.
Anyway, they were getting their meal in the hotel, the backroom staff, on the Sunday night. Sorry, the Friday night. And they all got their meals and they sat down. So you got the manager, the assistant manager, the coaches, the photographer, the kit man, everyone sitting around this table. And Alan, and this is a true story, I promise you, Alan Pardew turned around and said, that meal looks better than mine. And he pointed to one of the guys' meals. And he said, if it's better than mine, I'm going to take it. And the bloke turned around and said, well, no, you can't take it because it's my meal. And Alan Pardew turned around and said,
it's nasty, isn't it?
Yep, the king quote is, when you're the king, you can do what you want. Okay? And he did it. He took the bloke's meal. Okay? Now, if you go back to Reading... When Alan Pardew was manager of Reading before West Ham United Football Club, okay, West Ham United Football Club went to Reading when Alan Pardew was managing them, and one of the guys from Reading came into the West Ham dressing room and spoke to, I think it was Eddie Gillam, and said, have you met the king? Meaning Alan Pardew. Because when you're the king, you can do what you like. He was the most arrogant twat I've ever known in my life, seriously. And when he was manager, I was a photographer then. So I was there and, I knew the score. But if you compare someone like that to John Lyall, John
No, no, no,
Lyle.
no. You can't put no one. You can't compare anyone to
You
John.
can't compare it.
All I'm saying about Pardew is Reading refused permission for us to speak to him at the beginning because they wanted to hold on. Then Alan's like, no, I gotta go. So
Yeah.
good choice. All I'm saying is I totally know off the field personality. It's not good. But I
Not good.
respect him. But I like it in the way they all went, didn't they? Defoe, Canute, they all went. He basically brought a whole team with Zamora, Etherington.
He did, but
you
the
know,
problem I've got, Jazz, the innermost problem I've got.
I know, human being side. I know, mate. I know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't respect a person that works like that. I can only respect a person like Billy Bonds, Trevor Brooking, and John Lyle. I can only respect a person that's got a huge amount of integrity, you know, and that is all I can go with. I can't support anybody. The man loves himself to a degree where it is unnatural. I'm sorry.
He had a 6-year contract, Newcastle.
Simply unnatural, mate. I'm sorry, but you know there is.
But
stuff
you did enjoy the football, didn't you? That 2006 FA Cup final.
I enjoyed the football, but I'm a man of integrity, and I didn't enjoy what's behind the football, so that would disturb me. I know it wouldn't a lot of fans.
No, Pete, but Peter, you saw the highest standards with Greenwood.
Yeah, exactly,
Lyle.
exactly.
So that's totally understandable what you're saying. I'm just saying that. Without meeting him and being as close to the club as you were, you're absolutely right. I just loved the things I saw from outside, which was like, mate, Rio Coca, Banyun, what a signing. Yossi, my goodness.
Oh, superb player. Superb.
Wow. Berkovic and Banyun, and you know better than me, Peter, how good Berkovic and Banyun were looking back now. Wow. You know,
they were amazing players. They were phenomenal players. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I remember that team, and I remember several matches, and watching them and being highly entertained. You know, I really do. But at the end of the day, I think that you've got different levels. Okay, so let's take away. It's a bit like you've got a wall. You know, a wall. You want to paint the wall, and you're stripping away the wallpaper. All right, but if you've got the manager who's got ethos the way he's got, which I don't agree with. You know,
I know he done a couple other things. I don't want to say, you know what I'm talking about. But exactly. He's a naughty boy. That's yeah. Then it's just
John Lyle, right?
Complete piss state.
You've got to remember that when I was a little kid, right, and I first saw John Lyle, I was the hairs on the back of my neck stood up because I knew what he represented. He represented the highest standard of humanity, and take away football. He stood for the highest amount of humanity. He was just a god of people.
The players said he was our father. He was our father.
Mate,
Paul Ince never respected no human being on the planet Earth apart from John Lyle.
Exactly. The man was an absolute legend. You know, he was a very respected person within football. I'm taking it out of football because I'm saying, look, when I first met John Lyle, I looked at him and thought, oh my God, what an amazing human being. Because I never had a dad. My dad was away with the women, etc. So I always looked at John Lyle and Billy Bonds and thought, well, why can't my dad be like that? You know? And so it was just, he was an amazing human being. And that's why I'm 54 now. And I still measure my life and my standards every day to what I do towards three people, Trevor Brooking, Billy Bonds and John Lyle. And I put my standards towards them. I have to reach their standards. And if it wasn't for them, I would probably, be dead now. Simple as that. No way. I would be alive.
I just want to tell these guys, this is rum and Coke, Bacardi and Coke. That's my favourite drink. £15 a bottle. I'm not my younger sons. They're really expensive, more whiskey, neat on the rock. I'm not that sophisticated. I just prefer this. It suits me.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm a bit old school. Bit of the cheap stuff.
Yeah, when you're young, you used to dabble into different beers and stuff. I'll just stick to the same old. But you're absolutely right, mate. Luckily, when the Billy Bond stand opened at the new ground, I was there and... probably had a lump in the throat. Alvin Martin had a lump in his throat because he was the presenter, wasn't he? Saying, and Billy's so reserved, and as you know, the stories full time back in the day used to be out go home by 10. He never done interviews. He's gone. He loved, I think his two daughters were there. The wife was there. And he did that. He did that.
Jazz,
You would have cried. He went in front of gave it one of those in front of the big Billy Bond stand. And I don't know how many thousand people in that stand now. And I know he's a Charlton boy. A lot of you might not know that. He had a couple of years at Charlton.
Boy, yeah.
Came as a right back, then moved to the middle of the midfield. Peter knows better than me. Then they moved him back to centre back with Alvin Martin and Julian Dix. And what typifies Billy is that Julian Dix had a lot of runnings with him, but Julian respects him. Julian respects him, so you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm a bit uneasy with that relationship though with Julian Dix and Billy.
I know. Not a lot of respect. I know. Not a lot of respect.
I like Julian Dix, but
they wanted to square up to you, which is a bit naughty. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, if your manager is a god, you respect the god. You don't square up to him. So I'm a bit uncomfortable with that Julian Dix Billy Bonds relationship. But funnily enough, I mean, when we did sign Billy Bonds, we was after we signed him from Charlton, and at the time we was after a Millwall player, and I forget what happened. I'll have to remember it again. But if I'm in my darkest memories, this Millwall player didn't come to us, and he was going to be in place of signing Billy Bonds, and it didn't work out. And thank God it didn't work out, because we did sign Billy Bonds. So, come on, you're talking about legends here. You're talking about proper legends. Well,
there's what it is with West Ham is that song. I love it. Fade and Die. It worries me. Sometimes you believe in bad luck and all that.
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. But what I remember is that Gordon Banks, we had a chance to sign Gordon Banks, but the West Ham board said we got a gentleman's agreement to sign Bobby Ferguson, which is the way the club was run. And that used to frustrate me. Think, fucking hell, man, just sign Banks, because Banks is going to come. You had more Peters and the rest of the gang. So West Ham sometimes in their history, and that 85, I know we're going off track, but in the chat, we got lots of people in the chat, loyal people. But what we're saying is the game, there ain't much to chat about in the game. We've sworn at it. We've fucked off with it. There's no chances. There's nothing to. We just laid there to get shot at, and we got shot too in the end. But what we're saying is, if you want a bit of history, me and Peter will be doing a lot of shows going forward, and now Peter's got a lot more experiences. And the thing with Peter is he was involved in the club. He's seen these people live and things like that. The thing with me was I lived out west, so I never had a chance to go close to the club a lot. Every journey is still kind of quite negative to me in terms of journey time and things like that. But what we're trying to say is that every time in the history we got close to winning something, like I'll give you an example. 1981 League Cup final, we got cheated, isn't it? It was an offside goal.
Oh, big time.
And they've done us twice. They've done us twice, right? I'm not saying Liverpool cheated in 2006. They didn't, but
it was the referee. Clive Thomas. Clive Thomas, Keith Hackett. Come on. And Keith Hackett. Don't forget. I'm going on from Clive Thomas.
Were you there? Were you there? Or?
I'll tell you something now, Jazz. Right. For that semi-final against Nottingham Forest, when Keith Hackett sent Tony Gale off, right? I'll tell you a quick story about that match, right? I never had a ticket for that match, so I weren't very well off back in that time.
Villa Park.
Villa Park. Went down to Upton Park on the morning of the match, right? I had a mate called Darren Sherwood, who's still my good mate, and Danny, his name was. We went down there. They both had tickets, and I didn't. I was lucky could get a ticket off Brian Blower, right, for the face value, right.
That's the secretary or something, West Ham.
Brian Blower worked for the club, right. All of a sudden, our two mates were hoping we could get a ticket. It was about 9 in the morning. It was well early. Anyway, he came out with a few tickets, and I managed to get one off of him. Right, was he
the secretary?
He was a secretary, yeah, right.
What about Chapman? Was he the one before him? Chapman.
He was the one before him. But
fuck it, Pete, you're connected with the gangsters, mate. You're connected.
No, not at all. All it was luck, Jazz. It was luck. And it was a West Ham gods falling upon me. And I was on the West Ham forecourt where the old West Ham cabin used to be, where the West Ham, West Ham cabin shop used to be in front of the West Ham. Anyway, he came out with about 5 tickets. I managed to buy one. We went up to Villa Park. I'll never forget it because Tottenham were playing Arsenal before us. It was a live kickoff before us, and then we were following them.
West Ham Tottenham.
Remember the Gaza free kick? The Gaza free kick.
Yeah. I was at a wedding. Right. I had a wedding that, and we were watching from the screen, the wedding hall.
That's it. So you got the Gaza free kick. So anyway, we're approaching Birmingham, and as we're approaching Birmingham, we all realise on the train, look, if we beat Forest, we're playing Tottenham in the FA Cup final, right? This is massive. Anyway, we get to Villa Park. What happens is history. Tony Gale gets sent off. But I'll tell you something now, Jazz, right? And I know it's going to sound crazy to a lot of supporters, right?
Yeah.
But we lost 4-0. Tony Gale got sent off. We got knocked out of the FA Cup semi-final. And I bought the video of that match. And I've still got it in my office here, in a shelf over there. Nottingham Forest 4, West Ham United 0. FA Cup semi-final. And the reason why I bought that video was to record our amazing support in that match, because it was outrageous. I remember singing Billy Bond's Claret and Blue Army, right? And everybody was so passionate. And I remember shouting, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it never stopped. It never stopped. The support was outrageous that day. There are clips in that second half where we're losing 4-0. And if an alien was to look at that match, they'd go, the West Ham supporters are winning 4-0. They're not losing, they're winning 4-0. And I always remember, Jazz, at the end of the match, there was Bob Wilson and there was Neil Warnock, a very young Neil Warnock.
I was about to say that. I hate that. I mean, nothing personal against him. He was in there as a Notts County manager, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah. But I will say for Neil Warnock,
he said that.
He was the only person to say, and I'll never forget it, he said, can you believe the West Ham supporters today? They were amazing. They did not stop singing even at 4-0 down, Even on the train back, I remember the train back from Birmingham to Euston, right? And we was all on the train, the West Ham supporters, and all we were talking about was how we kept singing Billy Bond's Claret and Blue Army. And you know something? If anything could put a capsule in a tablet and just absolutely say this is West Ham United, it was that day. It was that day.
I remember it. I remember it. And again, I'm being honest, because Trevor Morley got stabbed a week before by his wife. Yeah. I don't, even if Gale wasn't sent off, again, I'm being honest, I don't think we would have won the game. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Jimmy.
Well, don't forget, I don't think we would have personally. We was a second division team.
I mean, George Parris hit the post, didn't he? George Parris hit the post.
Yeah, George Parris hit the post. I don't think we would have won it personally, but
no, I don't think so.
I mean, even Keith Hackett has come out and apologised to Tony Gale since. They did an interview on YouTube, and it was a very interesting interview. And he said that he was given the guidelines just weeks before that semi-final. And he said that the FA put him under a bus. Do you know what I mean? So
I've got a lot of time for Tony, and my biggest complaint at the moment is that there's not enough non-top four so-called super club commentators in football. So people like Matthew Tissier. I mean, Alan. I like Alan Shearer because he didn't play for a top four, so he's kind of new. I love Graham Souness, but I think Tony Cottee, Tony Gale, Matthew Tissier. You need people like that, a bit neutral. Yeah. Not stuck up about playing for Liverpool. It's all Liverpool Man United, mate, Sky. Liverpool Man United.
Yeah. I remember when I was a photographer and I was doing a Charlton match at the Valley. And,
the Valley, yeah.
I think it was about 2008. I forget who it was against. But anyway, I was photographing a match at the Valley. And I was in the press lounge beforehand, and I must admit that Charlton are brilliant at looking after the press, and we had our a meal and etc. Anyway, on this particular day, it was a 3:00 kickoff, and West Ham were playing Chelsea on an early kickoff at Stamford Bridge. I think it was a 12:30 kickoff. Anyway, Tony Cottee was sitting there watching the match, and it was pretty surreal to me because I'm a normal bloke. who used to stand on the terraces at Upton Park. Anyway, I sat next to Tony and watched the match at the Valley, and it was amazing. It was just listening to his insight, etc. We connected. You know, he knew I was West Ham, and it was such a lovely day. And I'll never forget it. At half time, I had to go and do something, and
I think we're going to do we're going to do a history thing with you, Peter, every other week. Yeah, phenomenal. No, we will. We got I got loads.
I couldn't get back to Tony for the second half of the match, and he was looking for me because he knew I was like. It was almost like I know you're from West Ham, and come back and sit with me because I've got all these people around me that aren't West Ham, and it was like I couldn't get back to him because I had to work. But yeah, lovely memories, mate. Lovely memories from the proper West Ham family. You know, they were lovely days, mate. They really were.
But basically, listen. We got a lot of people in the chat, but we've been going for an hour. I'm not going to take any more Peter's time because the frustration is we lost. We didn't have nothing up front. There's nothing to talk about in terms of we're frustrated. I don't want to swear at the manager anymore. The players, they've done the best they could have. I'm going to the home leg. We'll see how it goes. What do? You just try to make a day of it, but it's unfortunate that what I've always said is that it is difficult trying to get the right manager at the right time for the right club for the right time. And Moyes was there for that right time, but the board definitely should have known that. Thank you very much in the summer. God bless you. And a lot of people, Peter, on my show last year, because I was one of the first channels that freaked out on David Moyes, got a lot of stick for it. Yeah. Then they all did it, and no one said nothing to them. I always get the stick. That's fine. I can take it. But they used to say, Jazz, the Celtic manager, Postecoglou, have you looked at him? I said, not really. They all said it. They all said we like the way he plays. I think Liverpool are going to get the Sporting Lisbon guy, Almiron. They're going to get him.
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm in Portugal at the moment, and obviously I know I've got a lot of sort of like Portuguese friends that support Benfica, Sporting Lisbon, etc., and they rate him very highly, mate. Really do.
Pam, say welcome to Peter. He's the new assistant in the channel. Peter's just joined. So Pam is a really old fan of the channel, really loyal. So Pam's got a letter from Pardew when he got. I wrote to the club before. What's his name? The Newcastle guy. God bless him. Passed away now. Glenn Roeder. So before Glenn Roeder got the job, because I wanted a letter in return, Peter, around 2001, whenever it was, when and all they said in return is I still got it, saying, Jazz, thank you for your application to be the manager of West Ham. We've seen your CV. But unfortunately, and it gets all personally signed and things like that. And
yeah.
So I think Pam did a similar thing. Yeah, but it might be a bit different. But yeah, a lot of people joining in now. Where's the 40 people turned up from now? 70s, but oh, Jay, look, people, your time, Peter. 70s North Bank here. I was always we're West. My dad was always posh. We're West Bank upper, Peter. Just that's what we were. West Bank upper.
I was,
and we always drove in Dad's car. I'm not going to catch the train. No,
I was South Bank and North Bank. That was me. South Bank and North Bank. I ended up on the North Bank. My biggest memory from Upton Park that I always take away out of all the matches I went there, hundreds of matches, was West Ham United 2, Ipswich Town 1, 1985-86. Ray Stewart last minute penalty.
Ipswich, were you there? Ipswich, were you there?
I was there, mate. I was right behind the North Bank goal, and I'll never forget it. I was 16.
I was listening on the radio, and again, it's that winter, isn't it? The frozen pitch, no games at Upton Park in December.
Yeah, there was a big frozen winter, and but I've been to hundreds of West Ham matches, but if I could pull anything out the bag to say what was the most special, it was for me that night against Ipswich Town, 85-86 at Upton Park, when Alan, we was 1-0 down in the first half. We come out in the second half. Alan Dickens scored a beautiful chip to make it 1-1.
Oh, yeah. Were you behind that goal?
I was behind that goal.
Oh, but you saw both goals then?
Yeah, I was behind that goal. And then Mark Ward went down for a penalty in the last minute. It was never
Peter, he won a penalty, though.
It weren't a penalty. It weren't a penalty, but we'll take it all day long, yeah? It weren't a penalty, but I'll tell you something, seriously.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget when Ray Stewart put that ball on the spot, and he put it in the back of the net. And
I bet the roof
the
went off, mate. I bet the roof went off, mate.
I'll tell you something about that night, Jazz. I'll tell you something about that night that was very special. Was the atmosphere on Green Street after the match?
Oh, you're so lucky, but you've seen so much history, mate. Wow.
Well, it was coming towards the end of the season. Well, it was. I mean, it was our last home match of the season. So, you came out of Upton Park, you came past the portal cabin, which was the actual shop. You walked out of Green Street, and it was a warm night. It was a warm sort of like night. It wasn't cold at all.
It wasn't raining or nothing like that, no?
No. It was a beautiful night. It was a beautiful evening. And we came out on the Green Street, and I'll tell you something. We had the biggest party going, mate. It was amazing.
I might pull out the program if I can see from my library.
Seriously, it was amazing.
It's in the cupboard.
I'll tell you now. I'll tell you now, Jazz. I'll put it out for you now, mate. I'll put it out for you now. Hang on, mate.
Peter. I remember how upset Terry Butcher was from Mark Ward's dive. I remember that. Remember Terry Butcher? He's so angry.
Yeah.
So
Terry Butcher kicked the referee's door that night. That's the program from the night.
I can't believe you got it that quick. Normally, when Peter goes missing, we don't see him for 10 minutes.
West Ham versus Ipswich Town, 19.
What a kid.
Can I be honest? That's my most favourite match of all time. And afterwards, Terry Butcher he kicked in the referee's door, and he apologised.
No, Peter, you told me the 1923 FA Cup final. You remember as a little kid in a pram. Come on.
Well, maybe, mate, maybe. But I like to keep that quiet, mate. You know what I mean? I like to keep that one quiet.
No, but you're only three. You're only three then. I know that.
I was only three, mate. I was in my little pram. I remember those little slices of it, type of thing, But there you go.
You're so lucky.
I'm an old boy.
Listen, mate, cherish those memories, mate. And
I will do,
mate. Like you said, sometimes in life you might be down and up, but when you go back to that time, you go back to history, isn't it? Look, someone saying you look like you've heard someone say you look like Phil Schofield. Come on, don't be like that.
No, surely not. Surely not. They were great days, mate. They were great days.
Yeah, Audi, what it is basically, we about to close the show, but basically we started off angry about the tactics, non-activity in the transfer window, no strikers, we could see that. You basically waiting to be shot, and we got shot twice, more or less the legs over because we were missing 3 players, mate. And then we moved on to fun and games with Peter about the good old days. What else can you do? You know what I mean? That's it. Terry Butcher... But no, Butcher's all right. The funny thing about, because I used to collect Panini sticker albums when I was a kid till my mum decided without me knowing she gave them all of them to charity, which is good, but she could have asked me, but there you go. But Terry Butcher's born in Singapore. I know these weird things like collecting sticker albums. You look at the date, birth, place of birth. Brian Robson was Peter. That was probably one of your favourite players, wasn't it? Brian Robson back in the day. What a player. Always scored against West Ham. Yeah. Always scored against West Ham, didn't he?
He did. He was a good player. But I do remember in 1985-86 when Manchester United came to Upton Park. And I always remember it was played on a Sunday afternoon. I think it was I think actually, Jazz.
I remember that. It was 2-1. We won. Mark Ward and all
2-1
that.
to West Ham.
No, it was live. It was live.
But do you know, Jazz, I since found out, and I didn't realise at the time, but apparently it was the first live match of the First Division at the time. So it was historical. Okay.
Oh, so anyway, after the strike. Yeah, you're right.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't to do with a strike. I think it was the highlights, but one was an actual first live match, which I actually didn't know at the time. And anyway, we won 2-1, and I always remember it was played on a Sunday. I forget the time of the kickoff at Upton Park, but it was raining, and we beat the Manchester United 2-1, 2 goals past Gary Bailey and Tony Cottee and Mark Ward. And I remember, because I was only young at the time, my mum always worried about me going to West Ham and the violence and that, no need to be worried about it. All
She's
West
brave.
Ham did.
I lived too far. I had no chance, mate. I was way out west.
All West Ham at the end of the day was put a claret and blue arm around me back there when I was a little boy. But I remember on a Saturday, because it was played on a Sunday. I remember on a Saturday walking around Sainsbury's in Lewisham with my mum. And I said, Mum, please let me go. Please let me go. She said, Pete, it's live on telly. Just sit at home with me and watch it, all right? I said, but Mum, I can't. I've got to go. I've got to be with the team. I've got to. And I was always like that. I've got to be with the team, right?
Yeah, no, totally understandable.
Being the players, right? It's a game. I said, Mum, please. And because I kept going on and on, she said, okay, you can go. And I said, also, Mum, because it's live on TV, can you tape it for me on the video record?
I used to do all the same.
And she did it. And I've still got the video now in the cupboard there next door. But they were just great days, mate. They were great days. I mean, youngsters now are so lucky. You can see that, they can see West Ham, all the. I remember walking into Upton Park in the 80s for any match, for any league match or cup match. And I'll tell you something, Jez, when I used to walk onto the South Bank or the North Bank, and you used to see the cameras in the Staunton in the chicken run, and you knew Brian Moore or John Motson was up there, and you knew
that's what my dad was saying. My dad said when he went, because people don't know.
When I saw them up there, I used to go up there, right, Jazz, right, and I used to walk into the ground. As soon as I saw the cameras up there, and I saw John Motson or Brian Moore, mate, the back on my hairs used to stand on the back of my neck because I knew it was on the big match or the match of the game, mate. You know what I mean?
Pam was saying about the Lacey coaches. If you're going to go to away games, Lacey coaches were famous.
Yeah, Lacey's coaches, mate. Yeah, legendary, mate. Legendary.
You're really lucky, Pete. I mean, I wished I went. I mean, I went when I was 16, and when Lyle got the sack, the following season, Lou Macari, I saw all the games then. We used to go in Dad's car, and Martin Allen. I loved all Lou Macari's signings, Michelosco.
Lou Macari made some good signings, Jazz.
Martin Allen's from Reading around me, top guy, and we also
he's a legend.
Listen, Ian Bishop, Trevor Morley made Julian Dix captain. The only bad signing is we blew most of the Paulins money on Colin Foster, $750K, waste of money. I think Forest.
Yeah, that was a lot of money, mate. It was a lot. I know he scored against Everton in the quarterfinals against against Everton.
There's a story about that game because before Sky, there used to be something called BSB, another satellite company, and they were showing the FA Cup game. And my uncle had that satellite, the only guy we knew to have that on a Monday evening, and we went there, and we saw the game at my uncle's house, BSB. Stuart Slater, they go, that's the next £1 million player. Mate. Harold Canada's going to buy him.
Yeah. That was a special night.
All that kind of thing.
Upton Park, though, that really Jazz. I was in a chicken run for that match on that night against Everton. We won 2-1.
Good atmosphere, mate. You've seen it all, mate. You've seen it all.
Oh, mate, it was all I can. If I could choose one word to describe that atmosphere, it's electric. It was electric, mate. It was just, and it's memories like that stick with you, that make you. I don't know, man. It's so hard to explain, but it's memories like that just ingrain you into Claret and Blue, ingrains you into that Hammers badge to say, right, you're there for life. Do you know what I mean? And it was such special times. They were such special. I remember going to West Ham in the 80s, right, Upton Park, and no team would ever come to Upton Park and outsing us. The atmosphere was that good. It was so bloody good in the early 80s that no team could come to us and outsing us.
I found out in the mid-70s, due to our reputation, that Liverpool once bought 15 fans for Upton Park because they were going to... what's going to happen to them. I don't know. That's what I heard.
It was incredible, mate. I mean, it was. Look,
no, the naughty. Yeah, away teams were scared because of our naughty brothers, our naughty boys.
I remember Jazz. I remember a quick story in the I think it was the late 80s. I forget who we played. I think it was Villa away, and it was a night game, Tuesday, Wednesday night, right? So we played Villa away, and we've come back down on the football special down to Euston, right? And as we've come back down to Euston, right, with like when the trains pull up at Euston, they pull up really slow, right? So we've pulled up really slow, and we've pulled up next to another train, right?
I can't believe that story you said about John when you stood all the way to Liverpool for that last game when we lost 5-6-0.
All the way there, mate. All the way there. Yeah. And anyway, we pulled up to Euston, and the train next to us was Liverpool supporters who played in London that night that were going back to Liverpool, right?
They're all right. I met mate.
And
They're all
we
right.
got. And anyway, we got off the train, and all we could hear was, "Who's this? Who's this?" That's what Liverpool supporters were saying. And they went, I don't know if I can swear on your channel, but they went,
Yeah, you can.
They went, fucking hell, it's West Ham, and they all closed the fucking windows a lot. Do you know what I mean?
No, listen, I fluked it. I went there when we beat them 3-0 with my son, with Sacco and all them lot. Lanzini scored.
Big game.
They said, Jazz, fucking hell, mate, we've never won it since 1960.
Yeah,
what the
big
hell?
Game, mate. Big
I
game.
just turned.
I couldn't believe that, Jazz. I wasn't there for that.
I got a ticket out of the fluke, pissing about on the internet halfway through the midweek at work. We drove up there. We drank in the nearest pub to Anfield. Lovely. I'm lucky. Like when I go away, I always wear the colours, take the piss, and being up to Newcastle, lovely people up there, lovely Liverpool. I don't think I'll have the balls to do in a derby like Chelsea Spurs away. I don't think I'll. I don't think I'll wear my colours for that one. Yeah. But apart from that, lots of lovely people up north and stuff like that most of the time. My son went to Goodison Park. He loved it. Everton. It's a nice.
Yeah. Well, Everton's a proper football club, but I don't know about Newcastle. I got me 3 front teeth there. They're all false because of Newcastle away. So they trapped us at they trapped me and my 2 mates at the coach station in Newcastle, 30 of them. And done us, so I'm very brave of them. But
anyway. I obviously in the modern day, I'm not one for public transport. I always drive. I don't take any trains. I'm one of those guys.
I was too young back then. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I
know.
It was so tribal back then, Jazz. You know what I mean? It was so tribal. It really was. You had to watch your back in every sort of like sense of the manner. When you was going away, I remember going to Leeds away, and it was very tribal, mate. Very tribal. You had to be very careful. You really did.
Anyway, Peter, you've been a legend. You've been very entertaining and more entertaining than a match itself. But one thing's for sure. No, one thing is for sure. I think the channel has signed a very, very exciting person on the channel. We will get you in the channel, mate, very, very frequently. Great knowledge, great history. Shame about today. One more final thing. Johnny saying the ICF went to Scotland. Yeah, very famous. The gates got goalposts got kicked in and all that at Wembley and all that. ICF went to Scotland, England. Yeah. But
crazy days, mate. Crazy days.
Matt saying good luck for the auction. Auction's on Monday, 8 o'clock. Peter will be Peter's got a contract lined up anyway. He's part of the channel now. we've signed Peter on a 4-year contract, subject to
4-year contract,
subject to medical and
subject to medical. I've got my medical tomorrow. I've got a dodgy back, but I'll try and sort it out tonight. Right?
And a late interest on Spurs, unconfirmed late interest on Spurs.
They can bugger off. Them buggers.
Yeah. I mean, we try to make people laugh and as best as we can. But Pete, it's been absolutely fabulous.
Pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure.
And like I said, we're going to get you on the channel, and we're going to sponsor your charity as well going forward. Don't worry about that, mate.
And thank you once again, Jazz, for all the work you're doing towards our animal charity. Okay, so for the people listening out there, we got 47 rescue dogs, we got 25 rescue cats, and Jazz is doing the most unbelievable work.
Nothing compared to what you do.
I want to say a big thank you to Jazz and his channel, and please support him. He's a good man. He's a top bloke.
Don, for the next show, I've got Peter knows better than me. I've got the program from the tournament in 1979, West Ham Rangers. I got it. I'll show it to you. Johnny's saying, nice hearing you, Pete. Subject to you. Subject to
me medical. I've got a dodgy right knee, but I'll try and put it straight for tomorrow, all right?
No problem, mate. But really, really good. And we make the most out of it. We've lost. In summary, I think we're more or less out, but they weren't all that. If only we had a bit more ambition. I'm not blaming the players, the manager. Yeah. You can only.
There's still a tiny little chance because if we play at the London Stadium when we score first and we score early.
No, but who's going to score? No. There's no Paqueta, there's no Bowen, there's no Emerson.
But do you know something though, Jez? You know as well as
No.
me, because you're very close to my age, that there is still a possibility that something could happen. So we have to remain hopeful. There is still something that could happen. I know the West Ham way. I know how crazy it bloody is. We lose to the most ridiculous teams and win against the most huge teams. So we've got to just hope, please, it can happen, please, because tonight was just them last 7 minutes were devastating.
I'm going with my two boys. We're going to have a good blast, and yeah, we'll go into. We've got lots to talk to, Peter. But listen, welcome to the West Ham Irons family. It's been lovely to meet
Thank you very much.
And yeah, it's an early start, like you said, but yeah, you're my kind of guy, and yeah, we'll do a lot of things together. Hopefully, meet up, and I got good vibes about you, Pete. And welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, son. Welcome to the West Ham Irons channel. Welcome.
Okay, mate. No worries.
You take care. Have a lovely night, and hopefully the animal family's doing good. Take care.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone in the chat. Stay where you are for a couple of minutes, anyway.